did not curse her. He waited. Thoth goes first. Thoth followed her tracks into the Red Land with measured steps. He carried no weapon, only words, spells, and names. He reminded her of who she was. "You are moisture," he said. "Without you, the world cracks." Tefnut laughed, a dry, rasping sound, then let it crack. Thoth returned unharmed. Wisdom failed, not because it was wrong, because she no longer cared to hear it. Nephthys came next. As she followed her, cloaked in dusk, she did not lecture, she offered comfort. She spoke of home. She spoke of Isis, of the rhythm of night returning after day. And Tefnut listened for a moment. Then the heat rose again. "Your kindness is a chain," she said, "and I have broken free." And Nephthys wept, and the tears turned to steam before they touched the sand. And she returned alone. Shu called upon her as her brother. Hathor sang her a glorious song. In each return, the Red Land does not yield to persuasion once wrath has crowned itself queen. So Ra summons Anhur. Only then did Ra speak the name which was not sung. Anhur did not prepare for offerings. He did not ask questions. He took his spear. His journey was not swift. He crosses the borderlands where human fear thickens in the air, the dry lands where the moisture gods weaken, the silent dunes where even names dissolve. Storms rise, not to stop him, but to test his resolve. Spirits whisper, not to deceive him, but to measure his discipline. And Anhur does not respond. Where others rush, he paces. Where others find shadows, he ignores them. He is not hunting Tefnut's body, he is hunting the line she crossed. They meet where the sky presses low and the earth cracks open. Tefnut appears as a lioness in flame, her breath scorching stone. "Another god has come to leash me," she snarls. Anhur plants his spear. The wind dies. "No," he says, "I have come to restore hope." She attacks, not wildly, but with divine fury. Each strike reshapes the land. Each roar bends the horizon. And Anhur does not counterstrike. He contains. Each step he takes tightens the world around her. Each movement narrows her freedom. Not dominance, just constraint. And at last the spear touches her throat. Not hard, not trembling, but steady. "You are not chaos," Anhur says. "You are pressure. Pressure without form destroys what it is made to preserve." And for the first time, Tefnut hesitates. She does not submit, but she acknowledges. She steps back and she follows. And as they walk, moisture returns to the land, not as flood, but as breath. The Nile remembers its rhythm, borders harden. When they reach Ra, Anhur steps, for he does not take credit. He simply moves to clean his spear. Before the gods argued, before the eye fled, Anhur was already known, not as a destroyer, not as a lover, not as a trickster, but he was known as a god who goes where others stop. Anhur is tall, broad shoulders, dark of skin like the black land at flood season. He wears the four-feathered crown, not for beauty, but for domination, each feather making a cardinal direction, a reminder that he advances in all directions at once. His eyes do not burn, they measure. His weapon is not ornate, it is a spear, long and perfectly balanced, forged not for ceremony, but for precision. In temple tradition, the spear is sometimes called he who fixes the line. It is not enchanted with fire or thunder. Its power is simpler and more frightening. Where the spear is planted, chaos may not pass. Anhur does not shout in battle. He does not taunt. He does not chase glory. He ends things. The flight of Tefnut. The goddess who fled was Tefnut, the eye of Ra, breath of heat, moisture, and cosmic tension. She was not only rain and dew, but she was pressure, the force that makes the sky press upon the earth and keeps creation sealed. When Tefnut grows wrathful, balance ruptures. And so she fled. She crossed the cultivated land without looking back. She passed beyond temples, beyond prayers, into the Red Land, where gods lose their titles and take on older names. There she became Pharaoh, lioness-faced, radiant, burning the moisture from the air itself. The Nile receded, borders weakened, foreign enemies stirred. Ra did not curse her. He waited. Thoth goes first. Thoth followed her tracks into the Red Land with measured steps. He carried no weapon, only words, spells, and names. He reminded her of who she was. You are moisture, he said. Without you, the world cracks. Tefnut laughed, a dry, rasping sound, then let it crack. Thoth returned unharmed. Wisdom failed, not because it was wrong, because she no longer cared to hear it. Nephthys came next. As she followed her, cloaked in dusk, she did not lecture, she offered comfort. She spoke of home. She spoke of Isis, of the rhythm of night returning after day. And Tefnut listened for a moment. Then the heat rose again. Your kindness is a chain, she said, and I have broken free. And Nephthys wept, and the tears turned to steam before they touched the sand. And she returned alone. Shu called upon her as her brother. Hathor sang her a glorious song. In each return, the Red Land does not yield to persuasion once wrath has crowned itself queen. So Ra summons Anhur. Only then did Ra speak the name which was not sung. Anhur did not prepare for offerings. He did not ask questions. He took his spear. His journey was not swift. He crosses the borderlands where human fear thickens in the air, the dry lands where the moisture gods weaken, the silent dunes where even names dissolve. Storms rise, not to stop him, but to test his resolve. Spirits whisper, not to deceive him, but to measure his discipline. And Anhur does not respond. Where others rush, he paces. Where others find shadows, he ignores them. He is not hunting Tefnut's body, he is hunting the line she crossed. They meet where the sky presses low and the earth cracks open. Tefnut appears as a lioness in flame, her breath scorching stone. Another god has come to leash me, she snarls. Anhur plants his spear. The wind dies. No, he says, I have come to restore hope. She attacks, not wildly, but with divine fury. Each strike reshapes the land. Each roar bends the horizon. And Anhur does not counterstrike. He contains. Each step he takes tightens the world around her. Each movement narrows her freedom. Not dominance, just constraint. And at last the spear touches her throat. Not hard, not trembling, but steady. You are not chaos, Anhur says. You are pressure. Pressure without form destroys what it is made to preserve. And for the first time, Tefnut hesitates. She does not submit, but she acknowledges. She steps back and she follows. And as they walk, moisture returns to the land, not as flood, but as breath. The Nile remembers its rhythm, borders harden. When they reach Ra, Anhur steps, for he does not take credit. He simply moves to clean his spear. The myth of Mot and Baal, when death devours the storm. Now, in Canaanite Ugaritic belief systems, Baal is the god of rain and thunder, the pulse of fertile power moving throughout the world. He is not merely worshipped, he is anticipated. When Baal walks the high places, the earth responds. Fields soften beneath his feet, seeds swell in their sleep, the air thickens with promise. When his voice rolls across the sky, clouds gather without command, and rain follows as if it remembers something it had almost forgotten. Life does not just obey Baal, it recognizes him. He is the storm that arrives when the land has waited long enough, the rhythm that turns dust back into soil. Kings praise him not for conquest, but because the people eat when he is near. Baal is abundance made audible. And far below, where no rain ever falls, Mot waits. Mot is the god of death. Not a ruler seated on a throne, not a judge waiting hearts. Mot is consumption. He does not govern the dead. He does not organize them. He does not give them a purpose or rest. He opens his mouth, vast and endless, and the dead pass into him as grain into a mill. In Mot's realm, there is no light, no growth, no becoming. There is only hunger, patience, grinding and eternal. Bones are stripped, names are dissolved, even memory is chewed down to nothing. Death in Mot's keeping is not an ending, it is being eaten. And when Baal's reign grows generous, when life sprouts too far and too freely, Mot's hunger deepens, because abundance always calls to appetite. When Baal establishes his palace, the sky changes. Rain no longer comes in hesitation. It falls freely, generously, as if the heavens themselves have been persuaded to trust the earth again. Thunder rolls not as a warning, but as reassurance, and the land drinks deeply. Crops grow heavy with grain. Vines sag under their own abundance. Rivers swell past their banks, no longer cautious, no longer restrained. And life spreads outward, unchecked, not because Baal demands it, but because nothing stops it. And far below, where no water ever reaches, Mot begins to stir. He feels the weight of growth pressing against the boundaries of the world. He senses abundance piling upon itself, unconsumed, unbroken. Hunger is not emotion for Mot, it is response. Excess must be eaten. Silence must answer noise. From the dry depths beneath the roots of the world, Mot notices rain, and he speaks. Not with anger, not with envy, but in clarity. A message rises from below, not a threat, not a challenge, but a summons older than the argument. Come down, Mot says, descend into my mouth. Let me swallow you as all things are swallowed. And this was no insult. This was not triumph. This was merely inevitability. Baal hears the call and does not laugh. He does not strike the sky with thunder. He does not gather the clouds into weapons. He only understands. Life has grown loud. Life has grown full. And death is now hungry. The descent. And so now Baal descends into the realm of Mot. Not through a gate, not through a door, but through a withholding of the world. The sky above him thins. The air loses weight. The sound of thunder fades. Not suddenly, but as if it were being pulled away, strand by strand. Color drains from the horizon. What was once distant becomes depth. This is not another land. It is beneath land. Baal passes below roots, below stone, below the memory of water. The ground grows dry, then brittle, then empty of all scent and softness. Here, nothing waits to grow again. This is Mot's domain. It is not fire, it is not shadow. It is absence made vast. The air tastes of dust and old endings. The ground does not echo footsteps because nothing has ever lingered long enough to leave a sound behind. This is a place where time does not move forward, it only finishes. And Mot is there. He is not shaped like a king. He does not sit upon a throne. Mot is hunger given form. His body is wide and endless. His mouth a darkness without edge or bottom. His throat is a narrowing of all things. Within him are the remains of gods and men alike, ground down, undistinguishable, unfinished meals of eternity. He does not glare at Baal. He does not rise. He simply opens. There is no battle at this threshold. No thunder breaks aside. No lightning dares follow Baal here. Mot does not need to overpower. He only needs to receive it. Baal steps forward, and Mot closes, and Baal is thus consumed. And above, the world responds. Rain stops. Clouds thin and scatter like breath in cold air. Rivers shrink back to their banks. Then further still. The soil hardens. Fields crack open, not in protest, but in quiet failure. The land does not scream. Without Baal, life does not collapse violently. It begins to shrink. Leaves curl inward. Seeds sleep and do not wake. What once reached outward now pulls back, conserving what little warmth remains. Life does not rage against death. It simply waits. And now we have life without rain. Time passes, not as moments counted, but as absence accumulating. The gods wait, watching the sky for signs that do not. Clouds gather out of habit, then thin and disappear. Thunder remembers its old path and finds nothing to travel along. Days lengthen, and seasons hesitate. But still nothing changes. Altars stand unused, prayers rise and fall back unheard. The land learns the weight of silence and carries it poorly. Baal does not return, and Mot does not speak of it. He does not announce victory. He does not claim dominion. He does not mark the moment as special. Below the world, Mot continues exactly as he always has. He eats. The dead passed into him without ceremony. Gods, mortals, creatures of breath and root alike. Everything that reaches its end is taken in and broken down. No name is remembered longer than it takes to dissolve, because death does not require acknowledgement. It does not need triumph. It does not need witness. It only needs consumption. And so the world above learns something it did not know, that life can disappear without being noticed. But the thing that consumes it, life can disappear without being noticed by the thing that consumes it. But Anat refuses the stillness. Now Anat is the goddess of war and vitality, the blood-bright sister of Baal, known by many names. She who loves battle, she who delights in slaughter, the maiden who breaks armies. Where Baal brings rain, Anat brings motion. Where he nourishes, she cuts. Life does not only grow, it fights to remain. Anat is not patient, she is not tempered, she is the force that answers silence with violence. When Baal does not return, she notices the world's thinning breath, and she sees fields rise and fall. Rivers retreat, the land's bending inward on itself like a body conserving heat. And she searches for him, not gently, not cautiously. She tears through the borders of the world until there is nowhere left to look but below. And there she finds Mot. Mot does not greet her. He is not threatened. He does not flee. He opens his mouth as he always has. And Anat does not hesitate. She does not negotiate. She does not ask for balance. She does not respect necessity. She attacks even death itself. She strikes Mot with blade and fury, hacking him apart as one would butcher a carcass. She cuts him down, grinds his remains, scatters them across the land, into rivers, into soil, into the very dust that once starved. She burns him, she crushes him, she sows his pieces like seed. This is not wisdom, this is flat out rage. It is grief given muscle and steel, and for that moment, it works. With Mot scattered and broken, the world hesitates. Nothing rushes back all at once. Then slowly something shifts. The sky darkens, not with storm but with memory. Clouds begin to gather where air had forgotten how. The first drops of rain fall uncertainly, as if testing whether the earth still knows how to receive water. And the land answered. Cracked soil softens, seeds long dormant stir beneath the surface. Rivers remember that they're cousins and begin to move forward again. Thin at first, then fuller and surer. And Baal returns, not in fire and not in conquest. He rises like rain returning to parched land, not new, not changed, but resumed. Thunder follows him again, rolling across the sky like voices claiming victory in its range. Lightning traces old paths, illuminating fields that had nearly given up hope. Life surges back into motion. Green spreads, crops lift their heads, and the world exhales. Baal walks around the living once more, and abundance follows as if it always had. Not because he commanded it, but because his presence restores a rhythm that had previously been interrupted. For a time, it seems as though death had been defeated. The gods rejoice, the lands themselves flourish, and the cycle feels broken. And beneath the celebration, something stirs. Because Mot does not stay scattered. Death does not remain undone. What Anat destroyed was not death itself, but its form. And slowly, inevitably, Mot begins to gather again. Hunger reforms, absence thickens. The quiet below the world grows heavy with promise. Death has been wounded, but death has not been erased. And for Baal, for all his thunder, he knows this. Below the renewed world, something begins to gather. Not suddenly, not loudly. There's no scream, no thunder, no omen warning the living. Death does not announce its recovery. It does not demand recognition. It simply reforms. From the dust where Anat scattered him, Mot begins to draw himself together again. Grains rot, leaves fall back into soil, bones settle beneath the earth. Hunger, long delayed, resumes its work. Mot does not remember pain. He does not carry anger. What was broken will never be destroyed, only disappeared. Slowly, this absence deepens again. The silence between the world thickens. The great mouth that once closed around Baal opens once more, patient, unchanged. Death has finished being interrupted, and Mot rises. They struggle, not with weapons, not with storm or teeth, but with presence itself. Baal brings rain, Mot brings drought. Baal restores, while Mot consumes. Neither can destroy the other. Life cannot exist without death to make room for it. Death cannot consume everything without ending its own purpose. And the struggle resolves the only way it could, not through victory, through limit. Baal will fall into Mot's mouth again, and he will rise again, and rain will return, and drought will follow. The land will flourish, and then it will be empty. This is not cruelty, this is in fact order. Mot does not rule the world. Baal does not escape him. They simply take turns. Now, as we've seen, Hades administers death. Hell keeps it. Osiris structures it. Izanami warns against crossing it. Savitri outwalks it, and Erishkigal stays within it. Mot consumes, and Baal proves that every living thing must learn that you are not immortal, you will not be erased, you are not seasonal, because life does not win by escaping death. It wins by returning every time death finishes eating. The Greek myth of origin, from the beginnings in chaos to the primeval gods and the titans. According to the Greek poet Hesiod's Theogony, at first only chaos existed, and chaos is the term given to the dark chasm that gave rise to the fundamental forces or primordial gods, such as earth, sky, and darkness. And thus, the mold of the universe was fashioned from these gods. Chaos manifested its children in spontaneous birth, and these were Gaia, who was earth, Eros, who was sexual love, Tartarus, who was the underworld, Erebus, who was darkness, and Nyx, who was night. Gaia was the primordial goddess responsible for manifesting the entire physical world, including the land, the flora and the fauna, the sea and the sky. Ether or brightness and Humera or day emerged from the union of Erebus and Nyx, thus darkness creating light. Uranus and Gaia were parents to 12 Titans, who were very powerful deities. There were 3 Cyclopses, one-eyed giants, and 3 ferocious hundred-handed giants, known as the Hundred-Handers. Night gave birth to doom, death, strife, sleep, and the goddess of retribution, among many others. The Titans. The powerful Titans were a mighty race that held dominion over the cosmos during the time of the Golden Age. These gods were the first generation of Titan gods and descended from the primeval gods Uranus and Gaia. And Uranus and Gaia had given birth to 12 Titans, 6 of whom were males and 6 who were females. The males were Koios, Cronus, Crius, Hyperion, Leptus, and Oceanus. The females being Thea, Rhea, Themis, Mnemosyne, Phoebe, and Tethys. These gods were immortal giants who possessed inspiring strength and knowledge of the ancient religions, as well as many skills in magic. They were known as the Elder Gods. The Titans rise to power. Now Cronus, with his brothers and his mother, plotted to overthrow Uranus, and one day they castrated the great god and stole control of the universe away from him. And thus the second generations of Titans would be born. Because during this time, the brothers and the sisters mingled with each other and would associate with the sons and daughters of their kin. Eos, Helios, and Selene were the offspring of Hyperion and Thea. Koios and Phoebe became parents to Leto and Asteria. Oceana and Potmec were the offspring of Oceanus and Tethys. Crius consorted with his half-sister Erebus and gave birth to Astraeus, Pallas, and Perseus. Cronus and Rheus would produce a multitude of younger gods, including Zeus, Hades, Poseidon, Hera, Hestia, and Demeter. And it was those who would ultimately rebel against their father Cronus, just as he had done to his father Uranus and his followers. This rebellion lasted for 10 years and was called the Titanomachy. This was what led to the defeat of the old order of Titans and led to a new order, kinged by Zeus himself. They called themselves the Olympians after Mount Olympus, where they established their home, all except for Hades, whose new dominion would be the underworld. And this set in motion a new age with a set of new gods to rule the universe. The myth of Izanami and why death must remain unseen. Now, Izanami does not rule the dead because she chose to. She rules because love followed her where it should not have gone. In Japanese myth, death is not evil. It is contamination, a state that spreads where boundaries have been violated. Izanami is not terrifying because she dies. She is terrifying because she is looked at after death. Izanami and Izanagi create the world together. The land, the sea, the gods, and creation itself is intimate, cooperative, and sacred. So this is not a domination myth. This is a partnership. And then Izanami dies, giving birth to fire. It is painful, it is messy, and it feels wrong, as we watch creation claim its very first prize. But then we see love that refuses to let go, because Izanagi cannot accept her death. And this is the first mistake. So he descends into Yomo, the underworld, not to conquer, not to rescue the world, but to bring his wife back to life. This is not noble. It is selfish. He wants continuity where none is allowed. Izanami tells him not to look at her, not as a test, but simply as mercy. And then there comes the look that breaks all reality, because Izanagi looks anyway. What he sees is not a monster in the cinematic sense, but what he sees is rot, decay. This is the truth of what death does to the body when life has left it. The horror is not Izanami's form. The horror is that love demanded to see it. And in that moment, intimacy becomes violation. Izanami does not chase Izanagi out of rage alone. She chases him because he has broken the rule that keeps the worlds apart. Death must remain unseen, because once you see it, you cannot unsee the effects of death. You cannot romanticize it. You cannot pretend love makes it safe. Izanami becomes death not out of malice, but out of necessity. And this is why Izanami must be sealed away. When Izanagi escapes, he seals Yami behind a boulder. This is not abandonment. It is truly containment. The living cannot coexist with unveiled death. Izanami promises to take 1,000 lives a day. Izanagi answers that he will create 1,500 more. It is not victory, it is called equilibrium. Life and death are no longer lovers. They are opposing processes. Hades teaches us that death is inevitable. Hell teaches us that death is final. Osiris teaches us that death continues. Izanami teaches us something much harder. Death is not meant to be witnessed up close by those who still love, because love will try to bring it back, and death will answer by spreading. Sometimes the most loving thing you can do is not look back. Kanaloa, Lord of the Deep, Keeper of the Unseen. Now Kanaloa is not announced with thunder. He arrives the way the tide does, quiet, inevitable, already touching your feet before you notice. He is the god of the deep ocean, of healing through immersion, of chaos without malice, of exile that becomes initiation. He is the realm beneath the story everyone prefers to tell. Now this is the old truth. His domain is the abysmal ocean, the dark water beyond the reef. He is defined by salt, pressure, silence, and memory, the place where things go when they are no longer wanted above. He is the shapeshifter, often seen as the Hi'i or octopus, known for intelligence, adaptability, and knowing when to disappear. Not a ruler by command, but by gravity as things fall toward him. His powers lie in the healing that burns at first, knowledge earned by the descent, and survival through change, not conquest. Kanaloa does not compete with the sky gods, he completes them. When the gods shaped the world, they argued over light, land, and lineage. Kanaloa listened, and when the arguing grew loud enough to drown out the truth, he stepped into the sea, past the coral cities, past the fish that still know the sun, down where the pressure is so deep it erases noise. There, Kanaloa learned what others could not, that creation does not end at the surface. Everything broken above continues below. When the humans were cast out, the sick, the grieving, the disobedient, the too curious, they were said to be claimed by Kanaloa. Villages whispered, the ocean took him, but the old kahuna knew better. Kanaloa did not take lives, he took names. Those who survived the deep returned with new eyes, quieter voices, and unsettling calm. They no longer feared endings. They had seen where endings. Here is the Hi'i's lesson. Kanaloa chose the octopus not for its strangeness, but for its wisdom. No bones, no crown, no permanent shape. 8 arms, each thinking for themselves. Kanaloa taught through the Hi'i that when hunted, become the reef. When cornered, become water. When known, become unknown. Not every battle is meant to be won loudly. The breaking of his name. Then came new gods with straight lines and hard rules. They saw darkness and panicked. They saw chaos and demanded order. They saw a god who ruled without hierarchy and felt threatened. So they rewrote. Deep became hell. Silence became evil. Exile became punishment. Kanaloa didn't resist. The ocean never does. Instead, he adapted. He survives today in divers who descend not for treasure, but for He watches the oil rigs creak. He listens to cables hum across the seafloor. He remembers what human forgot, that the ocean keeps receipts. When the storms come from nowhere, elders say, Kanaloa has shifted. Not angry, simply correcting. Kanaloa doesn't want temples. He doesn't want prayers shouted upward. He wants one thing unchanged across the universe. Who are you when no one is watching, when the light can't reach you, and the only sound left is your own breath? If that question scares you, you would call him a demon. If it frees you, you will understand why sailors still speak his name with respect and not too loudly.